Alrighty, Roo, and cuckoo choo to you and all my nobodies not watching out there. Uh, yeah, back on this. Once in the hallway, she suddenly puts her forehead against the wall. I spoke without thinking. How could I say something like that? Actually, I was kind of like, wow, okay, you're doing a thing. Like, I don't know if this is growth or what. Yuri, I just, something about the way she said that. It made me feel so irritated. You're okay to have feelings. But I did think I was like, oh, wow, okay, what happened here? What's wrong with me? No, Yuri. I think you did the right thing. I wasn't expecting it, but it's also not right for Monica to judge people like that. Honestly, I'm missing the subtext here. Like, I was like, I understand her being like, oh, hey, where were you guys going out to? And then like, oh, but doesn't that just require like that? It's like there's a lot of complications here, and I don't feel like my character or myself as a real person really get the whole thing going on. But it's like, I think it was me that offered to go with you, and you were like, oh, yeah, sure. And then she was just like, where you guys going? What's going on in this neck of the woods? And, you know, and you're like, oh, that's fine. Except it's not fine. Why does it need more than one person? And it's like, oh well. And then you were just like, just stick your fucking nose out of it, biatch. Like, oh, okay, yeah. It was a little more. It was much more tame than that. But that's sort of what I saw it. Thank you for bringing the music back. It's creeping me out. All right, technique. How come even when I do something bad, you're being nice to me? Well, real talk. Outside of this situation and just inclusive of what your actions are as a person, I don't think you've done anything bad. I think that the worst things you've done have been things that, like, you're trying to punish yourself for something that nobody else thinks is bad. Because you are aware that you have issues and you're trying to you're like, oh no, I did bad. You spend more time thinking negatively of yourself and apologizing than you do most other things, which is probably why you spend so much. It's like, and if we actually like got you away from your books more often, I feel like that would be something that would be more evident because you'd be more interactive. But because of that, it's a lot of you just saying sorry. And so as a result of that, it's like, I don't think you really do a lot of bad things. I was surprised about that. I'm not saying that was bad. I'm saying that it was surprising and maybe too far, but maybe also it wasn't, and I'm not really sure. And I'm okay with being like, did I offer or did I choose to do that? If she had said that's not necessary, you know, I can't, as the president say of the club, say that it's okay for the a male and a female club member go out on their own to do this. It's like, it's gonna take like 2 minutes, man. Like, we're just getting some water. I would have been more mad as the president of the club thing, being like, you plugged it in first? Isn't that gonna heat up and create an issue? Like, that's my thing. Like, that's just for me, but I don't know how that device works. Maybe it needs to have a little time to heat up, or it just makes the tea faster. I don't know. I just figured you would want liquid in it first, but I don't know. That's my whole thing. I don't know if she wasn't doing her job or if she was being nosy or what. There's a lot of angles here. I don't feel, yeah. Because nothing that you do is bad as see, at least my character kind of gets it. Nothing that you do is as bad as you make it seem in your head. Nobody's perfect. We all have emotions, and we can't always hide them away. But you always amplify things in your head. Your mind turns a light rain shower into a hurricane. Okay, that might be a bit much, but you're trying to get the point across, and I think that it's like we really haven't done anything bad. I think the worst thing you've done wasn't something that I was there. Is in the side story where you just kept being like, no, don't read this book now. I changed my mind, and it's like that's sort of hurtful. But it's hard for you to communicate. That's it. That you stood up for yourself is actually a good thing. It's just I'm not sure this was the best way or time to do it, but you stood up for what you wanted, I guess, and what you, like, I offered to come with you, and no, it maybe doesn't need two people to go get a thing of water. We're just spending time together, and honestly, I don't know what Natsuki's doing, or if she's even there, but it made sense to me that, like, I can't hear what, you know, Sayori and Monica are talking about anyway, and maybe it's best that I just let them, you know, have private, like, maybe privacy is better. I don't know, man. I don't navigate social situations well. Just, no, wouldn't you hate me for something as terrible as that? It's like, you definitely don't take, I was kind of, I hope he was like, I was taking it a little, I was making an extreme example. You don't do that, but still no. Why would I hate you? I can't hate someone for having emotions. What kind of friend would do that? A friend, you say? Yuri lifts her head. Technique? I really like being friends with you. Thanks, Yuri. I like being friends with you too. I feel kind of awkward saying something like that, but I'm doing my best job to help feel Yuri. You know you like Yuri, shut up. I have designed you to follow along, like, as well as I can. It's like, okay, there's only so many girls here, and I don't think that you can choose all of them by any means, nor would that make any sense. This is the one that I have tried to follow on a path, because it's like, they make you write poems, and, you know, you try to please the people with the poems, and she's the aim, she's the goal. This is my first playthrough. I don't know a bunch about the game, except for that they give you a warning that things are going to be distressing, and I haven't gotten there yet. So it's like, just again, waiting for the slap, but I feel like I'm making the right choice so far. You know, I like Yuri. So be it. Anyway, yeah, shall we go? Yeah. Yuri and I walked to the nearest water fountain, which is probably all of like 100 feet. If Monica really had a problem, she probably could have just like side-eyed out the window at the, you know, like, these doors have windows. She could have opened it a little and like peeked. Like, it doesn't. Once we fill up the water pitcher, we return to the classroom. Technique, do you like oolong tea? Is that a real thing? Or is that just like a thing that's like from like Dragon Ball Z? Like, is that like a real thing? Like, I don't know. Like, what's in it? I don't know. Yeah. Anything is fine. Like, bro, don't say anything is fine when it comes to tea, because there's probably some tea out there that you do not want any part of. But, like, haha, I gave you sleepy time, or something. Like, there's all sorts of tea. There's teas of all kinds. You know, I'm not a huge tea person myself. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just not. I support tea. I was more fond of green tea than I thought, but I do like to add something to it. But it's actually like, I was like, I tried it just cause, and it's like, oh, well, actually I don't like this. But that doesn't mean I like all types of tea. I'm more of a coffee person. Tea has it's a different type of thing, but more power. Very well. Yuri sets the temperature to the kettle to 200 degrees. Now it's time to get the teapot. I thought we already did. Is that... You really do rely on this properly, don't you? Of course. I shouldn't do any less when I'm making tea for others, even if I'm not an expert on tea or anything. In that case, you'll only be even more impressed. Perhaps I will. Like, honestly, I know that tea is such a thing in certain cultures. You know, the whole tea ceremony can be very, very extensive and such an important cultural thing. And I don't really like those sort of social circumstances where it's like, what does this fork even do? Or all the ways to fail at being properly socialing in a tea ceremony. But look, you can bring me tea and tell me what not to do when I do it? Cool. Yuri fetches the teapot and begins measuring the tea leaves. To my surprise, she even starts humming a little to herself. You must be in a good mood now. Is that so? I was letting it show, and you noticed. I was doing a little bit of thinking, and I decided I would try expressing myself a little bit more. She's like, I actively thought about expressing my good mood. I mean, self-expression is important. Okay, yeah, we'll move on. And it turns out it's not very hard for me to do. Yeah, you just kind of have to, like, well, I mean, it can be hard, but you gotta, like, not do the things, you know? When it's you who's around, anyway. Ah, that's great, Yuri. Just don't push yourself too much. You're always worrying about me, Technique. Well, I'm worrying about kind of everybody, but I do extra worry about you. Like, seriously, I'm still pretty pissed at Monica, because she was just like, you were like, this group is going to be the death of me, and she's like, oh gosh. Well, you'll be fine. It's like, motherfucker, like, I don't think she's being dramatic. This is like, she's like, and we're not going to go back to it. It's very endearing. Yuri wasn't kidding. I don't even know if I can keep up with this. I watch Yuri pour a cup of tea for each of us. Technique, I have another request. Do you mind if we sit on the floor today? Do we need to push stuff or get like mats or anything? A very small table on which to... Look, yeah, whatever you want. Let's just do it. Why's that? It's a little bit easier on my back. Then the desks? I mean, I know these desks are pretty bad, but you can at least lean forward and sort of like rest your chest upon the desk. That sounds like a weird theater rhyme exercise. Rest your chest upon the desk. Yuri, yes, rest your chest upon the desk. But actually sitting on the floor would be like, it's all about your own posture, but okay. I can read with my back against the... Okay, rather than bending over at my desk. Where do we put the book on? Ah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. No worries, I just have back pain regularly, so I do my best to manage it. Yeah, no, I mean... You got your shoulder boulder holders, probably don't fucking tend properly to the size that you have, you know, and you read a lot. You know? So, I bet at home you probably like you have like a thing that holds it above you, like a stand, and you just lay down on your back so that you can like just like turn the page or something. Because it would, like, that does seem like not a small amount of, you know, back pain. Like, real talk, like, I care about women and their having to deal with the back pain that is natural, that is a result of you know, just being a woman and having breasts of whatever size. Is that so? I wonder why that is. It's mostly because my... And then she's like, I can't say that to a man or you. Ah, your posture, right? Always hunched over like that while reading. Yeah, sure, yeah, of course, yeah, She just says, yes! I have terrible reading posture. It's like, real talk though, like, no, actually you can develop, like, maybe even, like, multiple sclerosis, or is it scoliosis? I forget. But people who read a lot can have a curvature in their spine because of the conditions under which they read. Anything you do a lot, if you don't do it, I mean, even if you do it under the best circumstances, you can, you know, still get some sort of, you know, negative outcome from it. Like, people are like, oh, like, think about it. People who wear glasses often are considered nerdy or whatever. And it's like, anybody can have bad vision. There's a lot of reasons for it. But a lot of times they are readers. That's not just in the media, that's a real thing. A lot of times that's because they read in low light, or because they spend so much time reading things that are close that it affects their vision. It sort of trains their vision to be like that. There's other things that can do it, obviously, but, you know, like, that's just my point. Like, there's things like that. So that's why we should sit on the floor. Fair enough. I'll go ahead and get the book. I retrieve the book from my bag. Ah, I have some chocolate as well. It's a bag of small chocolate candies that I kept hidden from Sayori's candy radar. How? Is it like, yeah, no, I put them in something that doesn't look like food. Ironically, I hid them in a hollowed out book. You know, just like, she'll never look here. I take it since it'll go well with the tea. Maybe, I don't know. Yuri and I then sit against the wall, teacups at our sides. As if in sync, we assume the same reading position as last time, each holding one half of the book. That's wholesome. That's sweet. I like that. I don't care who you are. That's wholesome. Except this time, our bodies are even closer to each other. Also, is it in our laps? Or what? Like, is it like we have to, you know, you gotta touch your knees together so that it forms a place for the spine of the book so that it can be spread so that you can both have it? I can't see too well. She slides closer until our shoulders are touching. How am I supposed to focus on reading like this? Yuri was always kind of cute, but when she's being less apprehensive, it's almost more than I can handle. It's like, she was always more than kind of cute. Your teacup? Yuri hands me my teacup. Do not spill it on the book, dude. Also, where are we? I just feel like we need like a small surface, a table, like something, you know? We don't have to be at a desk, it's just, can we manufacture a table? Can we put something together just real quick that, like, functions at the same level as a table? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure this out, like. I don't want to spill my tea on the book. I don't want to spill it on her. I don't want to spill it on me. I don't want to spill it on the floor. Holding it with my hand that's not holding the book, I end up in a position that makes it even harder to focus. I'm trying to see him in my mind, trying to see him juggling that, like, because he wasn't going to use his left arm because he was on the right side last time. So is he holding the teacup very close? Or is he holding the book with his left hand and switch the teacup to his right, which would make more sense? It would still sort of be in the way, but I don't know. Because now I need to worry about making sure I don't accidentally touch her chest. They're not going to show us a picture of that, so to make it so that I can understand the visual physicality of it, like where everything is positioned. Meanwhile, Yuri hasn't noticed a single thing. She wears her intense reading expression, and I can only presume the world around her has faded away. I doubt it, but sure. I use all my willpower to focus on reading. After a few minutes, I finally managed to relax a little. I put the teacup between my legs and fumble with the chocolate wrap. Yeah, you were trying to do too much, sir. I mean, maybe this is what's supposed to happen, but whatever. Ah, sorry. I briefly let go of the book to finish opening the wrapper. You can have as much as you want. That's okay. I don't want any. Eh? Are you sure? Well, if I touch it, then it might get smudges on the pages. So I'm just gonna say this. That's totally like from a what was I watching the other day? I was watching something with Johnny Depp in it called The Ninth Gate. And it's about Johnny Depp's character is, yeah, here's tangent time. Johnny Depp's character is like a book hunter. Like he's sort of like a book detective. He goes and finds out stuff about books. He buys and sells books. Somebody hires him to find out if the copy of the book, which is a very rare book, is legitimate or not. And so he has to go, and the guy's like rich, and he's like, I got one of the 3 copies of it, but I want to know if it's legitimate, or I have the legitimate copy, or if all copies are legitimate, or whatever. And he sends him out, and like this guy's a smoker. And almost everybody does. Almost all the people with the books are smokers. And it's just like, no, I would just slap you in the face if you tried to read my very, very rare books. I was a book lover, a bibliophile. And you're going to fucking be like, I'm going to smoke this cigarette right on top, like right while I'm reading your book. No, you are not. Your ashes are not going to end up in the book. They're not going to, like, little embers not going to fall down and damage the book. I will punch you in the face. And it just kept happening, and it drove me nuts. But the whole chocolate thing it relates to that. So yeah. Ah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. My bad. No need to apologize. I'll hold the book, okay? Are you sure? Of course. She looks so sad. Yuri opens the book with both hands. She's like, it's not the same as when we were holding it together. She holds it so that I don't have any harder of a time reading from it. That's nice. But as a result, her left arm is practically resting on top of my leg. See, it's these little moments of subtlety that, like, don't really translate. But, like, it'd be nice if they had a few more pictures just to be, like, to get that point across. Well, in that case, Yuri's already totally focused on reading again. I take a chocolate candy and pop it into my mouth. Then I take another chocolate, and I hold it up to Yuri. See, that, again, now we're going into that sort of wholesome territory of, holding the book together is that. Yes, our bodies touching shoulders, and that. Her leg is almost resting on mine. Her arm is almost resting on mine to hold the book. And then feeding her a chocolate is, like, totally a thing, She doesn't even look away from the book. She may not be aware of it. She simply parts her lips as if the situation was completely natural. She just opens like, alright, like, like, no change, no expression, no blushing, no looking, just, yeah, you can go ahead and feed me this chocolate so that you don't get little chocolatey fingerprints on my book as we read together, because you wanted chocolate, and I was like, oh no, I don't have to have chocolate. It's like, and then just like immediate, it's like, oh, if you're gonna feed me chocolate though, just like some goddess being fanned by, servant boys and feeding her grapes, only less decadent and all that, just more anime. But that means I can't stop here. No, she opened her mouth. You have the chocolate unwrapped. You signed up for this, dude. Like, what did you expect her to do? If you offered, do it. I apprehensively place the chocolate in her mouth. Just like that, Yuri closes her lips over it. Eh? Yuri's expression suddenly breaks. What kind of also, I wanted to know what kind of chocolate it is. It looks like it's like one of those, like it's like a piece where there's like a bar where it has little snappable pieces. Her expressions... Oh, wow. It seems kind of like she didn't even realize what she was doing. She was so into the thing, and there was just something... Like, subconsciously, she's like, I'm being offered chocolate by somebody that I trust and like. This makes sense. Opens mouth. Enter chocolate. Lowers mouth around chocolate. Now has chocolate in mouth. Realizes the social implications of what just happened and all that. And then, oh, I'm out of the reading now. I'm back into the real world, where there is chocolate that has just put into my mouth by a guy that I like, and now I'm sweating and like, oh my, what has happened? Did I just... Looks at me like she needs to confirm what just happened? Like, did that just happen? It's like, hey, look, I told you I was gonna do chocolate. Like, that just chocolate was here. And you're like, oh no, I don't need any, it's fine. And because I don't want this, and it's like, oh, well, okay. And then we found a solution, and then I was just like, here's chocolate. And if you had just been like, no, thanks, I would have been like, okay. Instead, you open your mouth casually, and so I was like, here you go. And then that just happened, yes. Technique? Sorry. I guess I shouldn't have done that. That's... Well, you were just helping. That's something that friends do. Oh, she's so cute. Just like embarrassed and cute. Like, I don't think she was like trying to... She was just like into the reading. The body kind of did it all on its own, and now she's realizing the social context. Right? I mean, not really into this sort of context, but yeah, that's all it was. Yeah, then you don't need to stop or anything. So it's like, my character knows that was like a more romantic thing. Started it anyway, not expecting it to go through. She kind of did it automatically, then realized what was going on, and now she's sort of like, oh no, it's just a friend. That's the thing that friends do. It's like, but my character still knows that that's more of a more than friends thing, and it's like, yeah, sure, yeah, but yeah, I shouldn't have gone that far, but I guess I just kind of did, and now she's like, well, you don't have to stop. And it's like, okay, I'll just keep feeding you chocolate while you read so we don't put fingerprints on your book while we sit on the floor with your back against the wall, kind of almost sort of hidden from everybody else, kind of. Alright. I see. This is very much a game created specifically, like, I feel it's made for people who, like, are inexperienced in love and like haven't had these sort of things to sort of like have that hit that like that thing. I think it's doing a good job. The situation has gotten really tense. Yuri tries to return to the book, but I can tell just by her expression that even she can't focus now. My heart is pounding. I nervously take another chocolate between my fingers, but this time Yuri's eyes meet mine. How did it even come to this? You brought chocolate, bro! You didn't care or think about you brought chocolate. She made tea. I don't know if oolong tea is an aphrodisiac. Chocolate is considered one. But it also is kind of messy and will melt, you know, from the body heat of a human being. And you ate a piece of chocolate, and you fed her one, and now we're here. Yuri doesn't avert her gaze. I notice her chest rising and falling to the rhythm of her breaths. I raise my arm. Like, before. Okay, so now you guys are making eye contact while doing it. Alright, like you're like, here's another piece of chocolate, and she's like looking you in the eye, and both of you are breathing hard, aware of what's happening, and it's like less, yeah.